Hi everyone, so today I wanted to do a video that was a little bit different. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you would have seen that they are mainly sort of to do with saving money and yeah, just tips and tricks for how to do things for less. But today I want to talk about making money. So I'm 25 and I've been working full-time for about 3 or 4 years now, I think, ever since I finished my degree. But before that I was working part-time since I was 16. Personally, I think it's a good idea to start working somewhere around the age that I did. I mean, you don't want to be sort of going to work as a child, but starting early and not waiting I think is a good idea, because when you get to that point and you finish uni and you want to start actually getting work to get money, you want to have a CV that's got something on it. You don't want it to just be a big old blank page right up until the point where you needed a job. So the obvious one that everyone thinks of is obviously giving out CVs. So you want to make sure that your CV looks good, and there are lots of different ways you can do that so that it stands out a bit from the others but doesn't look sort of wacky and unprofessional. Again, it depends what sort of work you're going for, but sort of at that stage when you're probably looking for just any old part-time weekend job, something that's got maybe a photo of you in it might be something that catches the eye of people that are looking through them. If they've got a pile of Word documents, if there's one that's got a picture and they can sort of put a face to a name, then that's quite often something that'll help you stand out. One of my top tips is to ask. So if you go into a shop or a restaurant or wherever it is you're going and you give in a CV and then you leave and you don't hear from them, it's a good idea to go back and just check. Just go in and say, I gave in my CV a couple of days ago, I heard you were hiring, I just wondered if that position has been filled yet. I did this with a job that I had for about 3 years. When I was looking for work, they were hiring and I gave them my CV. They said that I would hear in a couple of days and I didn't, so I assumed that I hadn't got it. But I went back in just to check, and it turned out they hadn't actually assigned the position to anyone yet. And they were actually so impressed by the fact that I'd gone in and checked that they gave me the job. So that was a time when it sort of worked out for me. So it can take balls sometimes, especially if you think that you are being rejected, to go in and just double check that you're being rejected, but it can pay off, and in my case it did. Most colleges and unis have got uni bars, unions, restaurants, cafes, libraries, and all of these places are potential places of work as well. I worked in my uni in the library for a year and a half, I think. It was sort of the second half of my degree. And I gave them my CV and I went back and checked and so on, and I got an interview. And it's sort of one of those things that people don't tend to think of a lot of the time. When they're at uni, they sort of look outside of university for a job. But in fact, if you go and actually ask around the campus, then there's probably quite a lot of jobs there that you might not have realised. And for me, it was a great job because I had obviously a lot of uni work to do as well. And they were the one people that couldn't sort of argue with that. So had I been working elsewhere, like in a shop or a restaurant somewhere in the town, and I'd had a massive deadline coming up with uni, then I would have been sort of arguing between them, saying, I need to go to uni, I need to do this, I need to do that, and they'd be thinking, oh, it's not my problem. But because I was working for the uni, in the uni library, they couldn't actually say anything. If I had a big deadline coming up or I had to go to a lecture, they kind of had to respect that because it was all part of the same body. So it worked out really, really well for me, and it was a sort of a little earner on the side. Okay, so those are the obvious things, CVs and then maybe asking around where you're studying. The next sort of grade down from that is work experience and courses, so anything that you can do in your spare time. And I know if you're anything like me, uni wasn't full of spare time for me. I had a lot of work to do and a lot of deadlines, and it was very busy, as well as obviously working once you got the job. But if you can do any kind of work experience, that's always a good thing. Think about people that you know, so you're not just spending all your time applying for work experience as well. Think about people that you know that might be in the industry that you're interested in, and see if you can maybe do some work experience with them. But make sure it's voluntary. Don't just wait for the work experience placement time that comes with school or uni. Make sure you do something off your own back. Because I went to an interview for a job a couple of years ago, and I showed them my CV, and it had in it lots and lots of work experience things that I'd done, and they actually said to me, is this stuff that was arranged for you, or did you actually go out and look for it yourself? And they were really, really impressed at the fact that I had gone and sort of initiated it and looked it out and found it and done it all myself. Okay, so the next level up from that, this is my toppest of the tips. This is stuff that's sort of an insider's tips. Things that I didn't actually realise existed or that I could do until it was too late for me, really. When I was in full-time work, I discovered these things and I thought, if I had known about this when I was looking for a part-time job or just any work, even looking for full-time work after uni, if I'd known about these things, then it would have been so much easier. So there's two things. There's networking and there's trade shows. These are the two top tips that I would say to anyone who is looking for work part-time or full-time after uni, rather than looking, well, not rather than, but as well as looking through all of the job sites and the newspapers and applying for jobs the traditional way. Look for networking groups and look for trade shows in your area. I will put some links below. So if you haven't done it before, networking groups are where generally business people, working people, go usually in the morning, sometimes in the evening, to network amongst themselves, meet people, exchange business cards and essentially get themselves more business. So it's not traditionally a place for job hunting, but I found that going to networking groups, people were just interested, they just wanted to talk to you about anything really. And there's so many different sorts of networking groups, and some of them are free, completely free, so like you don't even have to spend any money getting there. Some of them are like £10 to go if you're having a breakfast or if they're catering or something like that. But they're just such good places to meet people and talk to people. And I think anyone who had been there, who were just sort of taking the initiative on themselves to just meet people and talk to people and get some advice, I would not be surprised if you were offered a job doing that. I was offered a couple of jobs and I already had a job just for being there and sort of getting to know people. So it's an amazing way to make contacts basically, and contacts are the things that get you jobs. So networking groups, just look them up, look for networking in your area, and I bet you'll find loads of them, and everyone there is so keen to talk to you. It's just do it. The thing is trade shows, and they sort of go hand in hand. So trade shows are where businesses again go to exhibit, and you can get small scale ones, you can get large scale ones, and basically everyone has a stand and they're sort of just trying to advertise themselves to whoever's there. Again, it's traditionally for business people, but the great thing is that unlike giving out CVs where you're desperately trying to get people's attention on you, if you go to a trade show, everyone there will be trying to get your attention. So you can wander around all the different stands, and if you even pause for a second, the people on the stand will go, "Hi there, how are you? Can I talk to you about blah 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 blah?" And again, it's an amazing way to meet people, find out about businesses. If you find a trade show that's to do with the area that you're interested in, even better, because everyone there will be a potential employer. They're dying to give you their contact details. They're throwing leaflets and business cards at you, so you've got the email addresses of all the people that you would normally be trying to reach yourself with a CV. Quite often the important people, if you like, for want of a better word, from a business will be there. So managers, the kind of people that would be hiring if the company was hiring, will quite often actually be there, and they'll be desperate to speak to you because they're desperate to speak to anyone. And I know this because I've worked at several trade shows myself, and I've been the people that stand on the stand and try and get the attention of the people walking by. So that is my absolute toppest tip, those two things. Go to networking events, go to trade shows. Take your CV with you, take business cards if you've got some, and yeah, just be open and approachable and keen to talk to people, and I bet you will make some contacts and follow up on the contacts and you're well on your way to getting an interview. So yeah, those are my top tips for getting a job. Give out CVs, make your CV interesting and attractive, put some pictures on it. Think about looking for places in the uni or in the school or wherever you are to work, because less people will think of that than they will of all the shops down the road. Get work experience in your own time, seek it out on your own, use people that you know if you can, or if not, just go into businesses and ask. Networking groups and trade shows, and those two are the two that no one will think of. All of the people that are competing with you for the jobs of your year group, of your age, no one will think of that, because I didn't know about it until I was working. It's only when you're working that you discover these things. So I am passing the information back to you. Okay, best of luck to everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.